Have you ever been hurt by someone you cared about? Someone you trusted? But they acted like nothing happened? No apology, no regret, just silence, as if your pain meant nothing to them. It's one of the hardest feelings in the world. You lie awake wondering, was it my fault? Why didn't they say sorry? How can they hurt me and walk away like it never happened? In this video, we're going to talk about the truth behind this deep pain from an Islamic point of view. Why do people hurt you and never apologize? Why do they feel no guilt while you're left with the scars? And how does Islam help us heal even when others don't take responsibility? We'll explore real answers with emotional insights and spiritual wisdom that will comfort your heart and open your eyes. Sometimes the most painful thing in life is not the wound itself, but the silence that follows it. You may have been hurt deeply by someone you trusted, someone you believed would protect your heart, but instead they broke it and walked away like nothing happened. No explanation, no apology, no regret. And you're left wondering, how can someone hurt me like that and act like it doesn't matter? The truth is, not everyone is able to feel the pain they cause, not because they are heartless, but because they have not learned to be heartful. People are different. Some hearts are soft and some are hard. Some people cry when they see others cry. Others stay quiet when they see someone breaking. The ability to feel another person's hurt is called empathy. It is a powerful human quality. But not everyone has it. Some people live their whole life thinking only about their own feelings. If they're fine, they assume you're fine. If they've moved on, they think you should too. And this thinking can be more painful than the original mistake, because you realize they never understood your heart in the first place. But here's the truth that gives comfort. Allah understands what others cannot. Allah knows the pain you're carrying. Allah knows the tears you never let anyone see. And even if the person who hurt you never feels what you felt, Allah does. He sees you in your lowest moment, and He lifts you with His mercy. You might wonder why some people just don't seem to get it, why they can laugh while you're broken, why they can move forward like they never caused harm. It's because their hearts have not yet been touched by awareness. They don't understand the weight of their words or the damage of their silence. But you do, and that's what makes you special. You are aware. You are awake. You are connected to your emotions, and most importantly, connected to your Creator. You don't have to lower yourself to their level. You don't have to pretend you're okay. But you can rise above. You can choose to let Allah handle what they ignored. Because when someone doesn't feel the pain they caused, that says everything about them and nothing about you. Your value isn't reduced because someone couldn't see your worth. Your soul isn't less just because someone couldn't handle your light. Sometimes people don't apologize because they don't understand the size of the damage. And sometimes they don't apologize because they never cared enough to look deeper. But here's your power. You do not need their apology to heal. Your healing comes from Allah. It comes from talking to Him in the dark when everyone else is asleep. It comes from whispering your pain to the one who always listens. It comes from knowing that justice doesn't always come in this world, but it always comes from the one who is all just. So don't let the behavior of someone who hurt you stop you from growing. You are not stuck in their mistake. You are not chained to their silence. You are free the moment you turn your pain into a prayer. You are powerful the moment you turn your sorrow into strength. And you are unstoppable when you trust that Allah is enough. Let people be who they are. Let them carry their ignorance. Let them walk away without explanation. But you walk towards Allah. Walk towards healing walk towards peace, because even if they don't feel the pain they caused, Allah does, and He will never leave your pain unanswered. There's something strange about human nature. Many people would rather lose a relationship than say one simple word, sorry. Even when they know they've hurt you, even when their mistake is clear, they stay silent. Not because they don't understand what happened, but because something inside them refuses to bend. That something is pride. Pride is like a wall between a person and the truth. It blocks their ability to see their own fault. It tells them, if you admit you're wrong, you'll look weak. It whispers, if you say sorry, you'll lose your power. So instead of being honest, they protect their ego. They stay quiet. They avoid eye contact. They change the topic. They act like everything is fine, hoping time will erase the need for an apology. But what they don't realize is that their silence is louder than any apology they could ever give. It speaks of their fear, their stubbornness, and their weakness. The saddest part is, pride doesn't just harm relationships, it harms the soul. The more someone protects their ego, the more distant they become from Allah. Because in Islam, the path to greatness is not through pride, it's through humility. And those who cannot humble themselves in front of people will struggle to humble themselves before Allah. You might ask yourself, why is it so hard for them to say sorry? The truth is, apologizing takes strength. It requires you to look at yourself honestly. It requires you to care more about the person than your own ego. It requires you to say, I was wrong, and mean it. And not everyone is strong enough to do that. But you must not let their pride poison your peace. If someone cannot apologize, that is their test, not yours. Your test is how you respond. Will you allow their silence to harden your heart too? Or will you rise above and choose softness over bitterness? That's where your strength lies, not in receiving an apology, but in keeping your heart clean, even when others choose pride. There is something truly powerful about a person who stays gentle in a world that tries to make them hard. A person who can say, even if they don't admit their mistake, I still choose to be kind, to be calm, to leave it in Allah's hands. That is not weakness, that is strength in its highest form. You may be waiting for an apology that never comes. You may feel like your dignity has been thrown aside, but know this, Allah sees the whole picture. He knows the truth of every situation. He knows who was right and who was wrong. He knows who humbled themselves and who chose arrogance. And in the end, He is the one who settles all matters in the most perfect way. Let them be. Let Allah deal with them. Your job is not to force an apology. Your job is to keep your soul clean, your faith strong, and your heart soft. Because in the end, it's not the one who looks proud that wins. It's the one who stays humble, who is truly raised in rank. Sometimes when someone hurts you, they don't say anything. They don't admit what they did. They don't show any sign of guilt or remorse. They just carry on with life, posting pictures, laughing with friends, going to work, as if nothing ever happened. And you're left behind with the pain, confused, angry, waiting, hoping. But days pass, and still there's no apology, no phone call, no message, just silence. You start to wonder, don't they care? Do they even remember what they did? The truth is, some people believe that time will erase everything. They think that if they ignore what happened long enough, it will simply disappear. They believe that your heart will forget, that your pain will vanish, that your memory will move on without the need to say, I'm sorry. But the heart does not forget just because the clock keeps ticking. Wounds do not heal just because a calendar page turns. When someone breaks your trust, when someone shatters your spirit, time alone is not enough. What's needed is effort, honesty, and healing. But many people are too afraid or too selfish to take that path. They think if they stay quiet long enough, you'll stop expecting anything from them. They think your silence means you've healed. They think your strength means you're no longer hurting. But what they don't see is the weight you carry inside, the nights you cried when no one knew, the way you kept your dignity while your heart was silently bleeding. People may forget what they did or pretend to forget, but Allah never forgets. That is the difference between the people of the world and the Creator of the worlds. He records what they choose to erase. He sees what they try to hide. And He promises justice when the world gives you none. Some people think that by avoiding a conversation, they are avoiding the consequence. They stay quiet, hoping things will go back to normal. But real healing does not happen without truth. Peace is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of sincerity. When people walk away from problems they caused, they are only delaying the pain, not solving it. One day, that hidden pain returns, either in this life or in the next. And yet in all this, you still have a choice. You can choose to hold on to anger, or you can choose to hand over your pain to Allah. Not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve your peace. You deserve to be free from the weight of waiting, free from the burden of expecting someone to fix what they don't even acknowledge. It's okay to let go, not because it doesn't matter, but because you've given it to the one who matters most. Let them think time erased your pain. Let them believe the past is forgotten. But you know, and Allah knows, what really happened. That's enough. You don't need their words to heal. You need Allah's mercy. You need His nearness. And He has promised that those who are patient will have a reward that cannot be measured. So while they rely on time to erase, you rely on faith to restore. While they stay silent, you speak to your Lord. And while they move on without apology, you move forward with strength. Because what you seek is not a sorry from them, but a reward from Him. In this world, many people run from responsibility. They run from guilt. They run from truth. But you run to Allah. And that will always bring you further than time ever could. There's a reason why some people hurt you and never look back, why they break your heart and never apologize, why they walk away from the damage they caused and carry on like nothing ever happened. It's not always because they are cruel or heartless. Sometimes it's because they are spiritually unaware. Their hearts are not connected to Allah. Their souls are asleep. And when the soul is asleep, the body becomes careless. When someone is spiritually unaware, they don't see the deeper meaning behind their actions. They don't realize that every word, every gesture, every silence is being recorded. They don't think about how much their behavior is affecting others, because their minds are focused only on this world, on their own comfort, desires, and ego. They have forgotten that they were sent here with a purpose, to worship Allah and treat people with mercy. But when the light of Iman is missing from the heart, people begin to live for themselves alone. They speak harshly, act selfishly, and ignore the feelings of others. They don't pause to ask, is Allah pleased with the way I treated this person? Because that thought doesn't even cross their mind. They are too distracted, too disconnected, too spiritually empty to see beyond their own needs. But spiritual blindness makes people ignore all of this. They might still pray, they might still fast, but if their hearts are not in it, if they don't reflect on their actions, they can still be unjust. Because spirituality is not just rituals, it is connection. Connection with Allah, connection with truth, connection with the pain of others. When someone is spiritually unaware, they may hurt you and feel nothing, not because your pain isn't real, but because their soul has stopped feeling. And when the soul becomes numb, the person stops growing. They keep making the same mistakes, they keep hurting the same people, they keep running away from responsibility. And they don't realize that every step they take without Allah is a step toward more emptiness. But you, the one who is hurting, you are different. You feel deeply. You think about your actions. You reflect on your pain and ask Allah for guidance. That's a sign that your soul is still alive. You are spiritually aware, and that is a gift, because it means you are not lost. You are not sleeping. You are awake, awake in a world that often runs on ego and pride. So when you're hurt by someone who doesn't apologize, remember this. They may not see your pain because they don't even see their own soul. They have become blind to the light of truth. But your job is not to drag them into the light. Your job is to stay in it yourself. Stay close to Allah, stay honest, stay soft, stay sincere. Spiritual awareness is not something you can force into someone else. It's a journey each person must take on their own. You can make dua for them, you can wish them well, but never let their ignorance pull you away from your peace. You are not alone in your pain. Allah sees you. Allah understands. And Allah will reward every moment you chose patience over revenge, peace over pride, and faith over frustration. The spiritually unaware may not understand the damage they've done, but the spiritually awake know that Allah will always take care of the broken-hearted. One of the hardest parts of being hurt by someone is not just the pain itself, it's watching them justify what they did. You might sit there wondering how they can sleep peacefully at night after breaking your trust, disrespecting your feelings, or walking away when you needed them the most. But instead of acknowledging their mistake, they twist the story. They make excuses. They defend their actions. They act like what they did was right, or at least not that bad. They might say things like, "You were too sensitive," or "I had no choice," or "I did it because of you." And suddenly, you're no longer the one who was hurt. You're being made to feel like you were the problem. This is one of the most painful forms of emotional injustice. It leaves you confused, frustrated, and questioning your own worth. But the truth is, when people start justifying their wrong actions, it's often because they don't have the courage to admit the truth. So instead of turning to you with honesty, they turn to themselves with excuses. When someone hurts you and tries to justify it, it is not your job to accept false peace. You don't have to pretend their actions were okay. You don't have to carry the blame they are trying to put on you. What you need to understand is this: when someone defends a sin, it means they are not ready to grow. And if they are not ready to grow, that's not your fault. That's a decision they made with their own heart. You are not weak for being hurt. You are not wrong for feeling pain. You are not too emotional for needing kindness. Your feelings are valid and your pain is real, but not everyone has the strength to admit they were wrong. Not everyone has the humility to say, "I hurt you and I am sorry." Some people will rather protect their image than protect the relationship. Some will choose being right over being real. It takes deep faith and emotional maturity to say, "I made a mistake." But when a person's heart is filled with pride or fear, they hide behind justifications. They make it look like they had no choice. They act like they were the victim, and in doing so, they hurt you again, not with their hands, but with their denial. But you are not responsible for changing their heart. That is between them and Allah. Your healing is not dependent on their confession. You can forgive them in your heart and move forward. even if they never admit what they did. Because Allah knows, Allah sees, and Allah is the one who will bring justice even when the world chooses lies. When someone justifies their actions instead of apologizing, it shows they are still on the path of denial. They are still holding on to their ego. But you don't hold on to the pain, let it go. Not for their sake, but for yours. Because the longer you hold on to what they refuse to admit, the heavier your soul becomes. You deserve peace. You deserve lightness. You deserve freedom from the weight of their excuses. Your healing does not depend on their apology. Your peace is not in their hands. It's with Allah, the most just, the most merciful. So leave their silence to Him and walk forward with dignity, strength, and faith. May Allah heal every heart that was hurt and reward every soul that stayed patient. And may He protect us all from being the reason someone else cries.